Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Drew.
And I'm Lauren.
And you're watching the Edward Joyner YouTube channel. On today's video, we're going to be doing a Q&A video session based on the questions you asked us, on our social media. So stay tuned.
First and foremost, thank you to everyone who submitted questions about the brand. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. So we have about 10 or so questions that we're going to go through. And let's just dive right into it, right?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do question number one. Let's get it.
Okay, so question number one is, what made you want to start your own brand?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I started Edward Joyner at the beginning of the year, beginning of 2020, after I'd graduated from the University of Denver in the winter of 2019. And it was kind of a progression for me that I really wanted to pursue. I just got done playing Division I basketball, something that I had loved and basically have been an athlete all my life. But when I realized I wasn't going to be able to take my athletics to the next level, I started to think about what I could do next, right? And that thought process started in 2019. So I started working on the brand as in, like, I started working on myself as a creative. I started drawing. I started reading more about, how to do certain things. I started taking classes about Photoshop and HTML and all these kind of things, which helped me progress into actually starting the brand in the beginning of 2020. And the reason why I wanted to start is because I, had loved fashion, right? It's something that I always interested me, something that I was always kind of invested in or participating in, whether it be through social media or whether it be on campus. It was just something that I really loved. Something that also made me want to start my own brand was the fact that I've always wanted to own my own business. And I didn't know what it was as a young kid. I always told my parents I would own my own business. And so, yeah, right? And so I think that finding out what I was passionate about and kind of diving and divulging into that passion is what really helped me start Edward Joyner. There were these brands that I was a really huge fan of, which also propelled me to think, why can't I do this? And that, like, fearlessness and courage to just try it and see what happens is kind of what made me want to start it and just see how far I can take it. I've always had a really deep personal belief, and so that's one of the biggest reasons why I started Edward Joyner.
So the next question is, how would you describe the fashion style of your brand?
Yeah, I think this is a great question too, because I think right now fashion's in a really interesting place. I would describe Edward Joyner as a mix between streetwear, loungewear, athleisure, all these kind of words, but I wouldn't say it's just streetwear or just loungewear or just athleisure, if that makes sense. It's a blend of kind of all these different things. And so when I set out to create the brand, initially I was influenced by these streetwear brands, right? Brands from Aimé Leon Dore, Jound, and By Para, even Supreme and whatnot. These brands are influential in terms of how the strategy of the brand works and how the garments are constructed or the items that are constructed. But it's not limited to those things, right? I think that Edward Joyner is a lifestyle brand, and what that means is that we don't just sell apparel, right? We have water bottles. Like, we have a water bottle right here that we use all the time. We're coming out with a product in the winter time that is going to be an accessory based product, and we'll have more of those in the future. So the aesthetic or the style of the brand really comes from a lot of these elements that are part of my upbringing, a part of Lauren's upbringing, and a part of our interest. So to answer that question, there's a lot of elements that kind of make Edward Joyner one. I would say streetwear, loungewear, athleisure, comfortable clothes, sustainable clothing, all these things wrapped into one kind of make Edward Joyner what it is. So, question number 3.
So what's your role in the company? So that's directed towards me. What's my role in the company?
Directed towards Lauren.
So my role is basically, I'm the head of sustainability, and I'm also the chief communications officer. So what that means is I basically manage the brand reputation. I make sure what we put out is good content and not going to be offensive or anything.
Right.
And then also in terms of sustainability, I just try to always push for us to be as sustainable as possible and as careful for the environment as be.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
yeah.
And I think also Lauren's role isn't just limited to those things. I think Lauren especially in the last 3 or so months, has really divulged into a lot of different areas. She's written articles. She's helped, find podcast guests. She's been on podcasts. All these things that, having one other person to really help you, with the organization of the brand, help me with just little things, right? Like whether they be grammar or whether they be like structurally how the website should be, another person's opinion. Huge part of the brand. I'm really happy to have her. So number 4, let's do it.
Let's do it. So how did EJ start, and what's the dream for the future?
So kind of like the first question, EJ started, it's a personal dream of mine. Sorry if I said that too quick. But it's a personal dream of mine that I searched my own heart. Like what did I want to do after basketball, right? Like who do I want to become? What lives do I want to affect? And I thought the best way I could do that is through a personal brand. I mean personal as in like a brand that I start myself, right? And for that second question, what dreams do I have for Edward Joyner? I would say that there are kind of 3 main dreams that I have for the brand. The first one being having our own storefront. I think that is an incredible accomplishment for any business to, we're operating basically 100% e-commerce, and then eventually we want to, have our own storefront. We want to have people come in and talk to us, and we haven't really had that interaction in 2020 as much with COVID-19, but we want to, connect with the community, connect with our community, connect with our audience. So number 1 is having our own storefront. Number 2, and this is something that I really want for the brand, is to be able to collaborate with noteworthy businesses and individuals, whether it be shoe companies, whether it be just artists or just established brands. I think collaboration is one of the coolest things that clothing has as an industry, right? Being able to work with other creatives and other minds to create something, elevated past a certain level, right? Past the level you could by yourself. So collaborations, noteworthy collaborations. I would love to collaborate with like Vans, New Balance, Stella McCartney, all these kind of individuals who would be incredible to work with going forward. Third, I would say the third dream that I have for Edward Joyner is to just propel fashion towards sustainability, right? I think fashion is in a place where a lot of people want, and are contributing to being more sustainable. But a lot of businesses, they aren't taking the necessary steps to really dive into sustainability, whether, and not just businesses, farms, just the entire production cycle, there's all these factors playing into what it means to be sustainable. And I think that Edward Joyner can be a brand that continues to move the needle forward in terms of sustainability for fashion.
Okay, question number 5.
5.
Why are your products so expensive?
Ooh, yeah.
So I would say there's 2 main reasons for that. The first one is quality. You can't really get quality for cheap. It's gonna be expensive if you want good quality.
There's a price associated with something that's quality. I mean, it's just, you have to understand that, right? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. So the factory that we work with, they source really high quality cotton and other material, and that's why.
Yeah, that's a huge reason why. I mean, like Lauren said, where we source all of our garments are made in Canada, correct? And so that means that they have, they're paid a fair wage, they aren't mistreated, right? And in the manufacturer that we use, they source the cotton from the United States, right? And that means they're also getting paid a fair wage. So all these factors, play into the garments being relatively more expensive than you would if they were made in a place like a third world country, just to say a third world country, whether it be Southeast Asia or it could be in Latin America, where someone is being exploited for their labor. So it's a huge important key piece for the brand to have garments that are made ethically, right?
Yeah. So that second point goes with the fair wage and paying our garment workers a living wage.
I think also something that's really important is, me personally, I always wanted to start a brand that made quality items, right? That's important to me. Like I personally enjoy being able to unbox or wear or own something that's of quality, right? You just take care of it more, especially when fashion, there's so much waste. You won't throw away our garments knowing how much you spend for it, and that's an important psychological piece to why we price our items what we price them at. And it's not just the fact that we're trying to make a buck on you. It's because we care about all of these things, right?
And then another point is that when you buy something expensive, one quality item that's expensive, it'll last you several years instead of having to buy a cheaper version of that same product every single year.
Yeah.
It's just more sustainable for it to be more expensive and higher quality.
Exactly.
It'll last you longer and it's more sustainable, yeah.
Exactly.
So, question number 6, where does the naming of Edward Joyner come from?
Ooh, this is an easy one. So, Edward Joyner. So I started the brand and I wanted it to always be something really personable to me. So my name is Andrew Edward Joyner, right? That's my full name, my legal name. And I know. And so, the naming comes from my middle and my last name, which is a heritage name for me. My uncle and my grandpa are both named Edward, and then Joyner will always be the last name that I have. And it'll be something, the brand will always be something that I love because of the naming. It's not something goofy or something juvenile. It's a part of who I am, and that's a big reason why I named it, myself.
Okay, next question, number 7. What do you plan to release in the future?
Yeah, definitely plan to release more garments with graphics on them, kind of being more creative. Obviously, we've kind of stayed pretty safe and kept things minimal with our EJ iconography, but I can assure you that moving forward 2021 and even during the fall and winter time of this year, we're going to be coming out with things that are more graphic based, that kind of are more, I guess, geared towards, streetwear, because there are graphic garments. So that's one thing. Next thing we'll definitely be doing in the future is we're already planning and working with, we're doing a collaborative project starting the beginning of next year, so stay tuned for that. We're really excited about that. And then in addition to that, we'll also be coming out with more accessory based items, home good items that we think that will just provide an extreme level of value to those who see the value in it, right? We're gonna definitely talk about, you'll definitely see, the things that we put out aren't just the run-of-the-mill things for brands that are, small apparel brands that you typically see, I guess.
There's so much love and care that goes into the things we make.
Yeah, seriously, it's so true. I think that people will really see the attention to detail, right? Which is really important. They'll see the attention to detail that we put into the products that we create and just the garmentry. So stay tuned.
Okay, question number 8. Will you be releasing additional colors?
Yes, we plan to release tons and tons and tons of additional colors. Just stay tuned. Yeah. That's all I can say, right? I mean, there's a lot of things in the works, and of course we're gonna release additional colors. Obviously we've heard the response from different people saying that they want this color, that color, this color. We're gonna try to do our best to fulfill everyone's needs. It takes a little bit of time because obviously every project has a monetary limitation to it, and as long as you guys continue to support us, we'll continue to create garments and items and things that you guys love to wear. So yeah, more colors on the way.
Question number 9. Any footwear coming soon?
I love this question because it's like kind of I talked about in the dream section. Like, one of the dreams is to actually have footwear or collaborate with a company that could help us manufacture footwear. Coming soon, not in the near future, right? Yeah. But I think that there's a lot of really interesting things going on in terms of networking and meeting other creatives. For example, Ray Mia, who's become a colleague of mine, is releasing his own shoe, and I'm probably gonna ask him or reach out to him and learn from him. How did he do this? How did he source the materials? How did he design? What tech packs were he used? Those kind of things. So as the brand continues to grow, I continue to meet more people. Lauren continues to meet more people. We continue to learn, and we'll definitely have our eyes set on footwear at some point in the brand. Absolutely. So.
Okay, last but not least, who are your favorite designers?
Favorite designers. Want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, bet. So, favorite designers. Okay, so I probably there's a ton of designers who, I'm a fan of, right? And then they probably won't just fit into this list, but like I would say like one of the designers or a couple of designers that I love, Jerry Lorenzo, American designer at Fear of God, fantastic. Love his Essentials collection, love his 7th collection. And I love just the way he speaks about his brand, the way he talks and creates for his brand, and the level of belief that comes from him in terms of the things that he puts out. I've always been a fan of that. Also someone who is, I think been doing a fantastic job, who's I think like the same age as us, is Reese Cooper.
Yeah.
Reese Cooper is phenomenal in terms of what he designs as cut and sew, and just different projects that he's put out are amazing. I feel like the Rivers Run Through fashion, the show that he did was so cool. And just someone who I think is doing a fantastic job as well. Someone who is obviously very controversial nowadays, but someone who I've been a fan of in terms of his music, his footwear is Kanye West. And I think a lot of people obviously are wondering what's going on with Kanye West. But I mean, from a design standpoint, from a creative standpoint, I still think that he is very, very noteworthy, very, very different and creative, and the things he puts out are bold, I think, a lot of times. And so I think he's someone that I look to for sure. And lastly, someone who I think that is really, really dope is Luigi Villaseñor. I think his story is fantastic. I think his luxury brand Rude is phenomenal, and once again, another person I reference. What about you, Lulu?
Okay, so my first one would probably be Jacquemus. I've been really into his brand, and I really like his fashion shows just because they're outdoors. I love his fashion shows. And then, yeah, he's getting a lot more attention.
Mm-hmm.
Kylie Jenner's wearing him and all of that.
More celebrity endorsed.
Yeah, definitely. And he's a French designer. I also like, obviously, Stella McCartney. We talked about her a little earlier, just because of her efforts for sustainability. She does such great work.
Mm-hmm.
And then Agnès B, which is another French designer.
Great.
And yeah, she just has this very just French aesthetic and feel, which I love personally. So
dope. Yeah. So those are some designers that we like. If you guys have any designers that you guys like, make sure to leave a comment down below. We'd love to hear from you. So I hope you guys enjoyed that Q&A session. It was a lot of fun doing it, and I think the response was actually pretty noteworthy, and we'll definitely do it again in the future. Don't worry if your questions weren't answered right now. We'll definitely do it again in the future, so stay tuned for the next Q&A. Other than that, make sure to like this video, comment, and subscribe. We really appreciate your support, and we'll see you in the next video. Love.